Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to episode 34 now of the SFC interviews. Here with former goalkeeper Mark Westhead. So, how you doing, Mark? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. Weird times, but yeah, all good.
Got lots of great questions lined up, and as I said, it's episode 34 as well. So we've been racking them, getting through them.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I've seen a few of my old teammates on there, John Brady and Alan Julian, and a few others. So yeah, it's all good, all good.
And I'm thoroughly enjoying doing them as well and speaking to everyone. So let's get into it, really. So, what were your main reasons behind joining up with Stevenage in the first place?
It was it came around really strange. I'd left Wycombe Wanderers and I'd gone to Lee RMI, and I'd almost a year there. And Wayne Turner and Gary Phillips got the job. But I knew Gary well from Wycombe because he'd been my goalkeeper coach there. So he contacted me and said, we might be looking to bring in one or two goalkeepers in the summer. All depends on what happens. Would I be interested? And it was I used to live down south anyway, so for me to move back down wouldn't have been a major issue. And then it all seemed to go a little bit quiet. And I played against Stevenage at Stevenage for Lee. I think we beat you 1-0. Mm-hmm. And I saw Gary afterwards, and he just said to me, he said, if we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. So I kind of, okay, that's fine. And then I got an offer from two other clubs, and I was actually in the car on the way to sign for one of the clubs when Gary rang me up.
Oh, really? So it was, last minute deal. Okay.
It was, yeah. And he kind of said, well, don't go there, come here. Mm-hmm. We'll make it happen in 24 hours. And he was true to his word. It happened. So, yeah, it was very quick in fact, in how it actually eventually happened.
We got some comments in here as well. Let's go through because there was a few that were put into the chat before we went on. This one here from Martin Taylor. I spoke with Mark when I was a match steward at Everton Academy a few years back. You were a football coach. Can't remember who that was for. Was that with Blackpool, was that?
That was with Blackpool, yeah. That was I was a goalkeeping coach in the academy from, I think it was three and a half years I was there. So it was all the way from the nines up to the actual academy boys. Right. So, yeah, that was... it was a really good experience. It was the Ian Holloway days as well, towards the end of that. So, yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed it. But then my teaching career kind of got in the way. And the commitments that you had to have as a coach just got more and more, and I just couldn't combine the two roles, unfortunately. So I left and went to Northwich Victoria with Andy Priest as the first team goalkeeping coach there.
All right, and then there's another message here from Richard as well. Just says, "Hey Mark, good to see you again."
Yeah, good to see everyone, and I enjoy watching some of these because you don't always keep in contact with people when you leave the club, to see what people are up to and what they get, what they've made of themselves, and it's really interesting. So I really enjoy these.
All right, cheers, Mark. It's always good to get some good feedback as well. So appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all good.
So you made your debut for the club in the 2-2 draw against Northwich Victoria. What are your memories of that game, and when did you know you'd be involved?
We had the pre-season games, so I think we played Spurs and Charlton and West Brom in pre-season. So it was a real baptism of fire. Played against three really good clubs. Yeah, we'd done okay. But going into the first game, we felt pretty confident that we were going to do well that season. Wayne was a fantastic coach, one of the best that I ever worked with. He really, really good, methodical, and his training sessions were always interesting and enjoyable to be part of. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I've joined a club that's going to go places. And went into the first game. I knew that I think it was a Thursday or Friday beforehand that I was playing. So I did all my normal preparations and everything. And I think, if I remember rightly, one of the goals was bent from the edge of the box into the top corner. So I thought, great way to start. I've been beaten by a worldie, but yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed playing. Fantastic club as well. The ground and the people at the club. I got on really well with people at the club. Clive Avery, I think he was a commercial manager
Clive's
at the
still
time.
there. He's been there, yeah.
He's still there.
Been there for years, yeah.
Yeah, got on really well with Clive. I think Roger Austin was the secretary at the time as well. So yeah, really good people.
And you came in as number one. It was Phil Wilson was your number two, your deputy at first, and then of course you and AJ were fighting it out for that number one spot.
Yeah. Phil was a good goalkeeper. Had a really good stature about him. He was a really nice lad as well. Wanted to work hard. So again, I knew that I had to be on top of my game to be playing week in, week out. So having a young lad who's hungry to play and push you, it's always good. And I think when I came back to the club, because I left and went to Hornchurch for a little while.
That's right, I remember that.
And then I got a serious injury at Hornchurch, and then they went bust. So I was left without a club for quite a while. But Graham was on to me straight away. I could have probably signed straight away, but obviously being injured, I didn't want to just go and sit there and pick up money for nothing. So I got myself fit, and then as soon as I was fit, I think it was deadline day. We got it done. And I ended up coming back and working with AJ, which was an absolute pleasure. He's a fantastic individual and really, really good goalkeeper as well. So he was established when I got back, and it was very, very hard to shift him from that spot.
And Lionel was around there at that point as well. So what did you learn off of Lionel, being the fact he played so much in the Premier League and for his national side there as well, the French side?
Lionel's very unique in what he did. Again, another great character. Very unorthodox compared to what you would expect. But again, good goalkeeper, good personality. Wanted to be the best that he could be, and demanded that of people around him. So I think that was probably one of the big things I took for Lionel. Be the best that you can, or strive to be the best that you can be. Because I don't believe you can ever be the best that you can be. Because if you do that, then the only way down. It's only way down from there. So
fair enough.
Keep striving to be the best that you can be, and that was probably the big thing I took from Lionel.
Richard here as well has put in, what was the best game that you played while you were at Stevenage in either of the spells you were there?
When we beat Farnborough 5-0, I think would stand out because. Unfortunately, Wayne had been relieved of his duties, and John Dreyer had taken over on a caretaker basis. And I think John will be the first to admit this as well. He didn't really do much. He maybe tweaked a couple of little things, and we went and beat Farnborough 5-0. And it was really strange.
I remember the game very clear. I think Justin scored a couple. Was it Justin got 2 or 3?
I think he got a hat-trick. Yeah. And it was we were sat in the dressing room afterwards thinking we've just turned over a good side in Farnborough, a team who's going to be playing Arsenal in the FA Cup in a few weeks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it was strange because although we'd lost 1-0 to Kettering and then Wayne had lost his job.
Yeah.
We didn't feel, because we were quite a young side, we didn't feel we were a million miles away. But it just that we weren't getting results, and it probably individual errors was costing us. But if we could have cut out those individual errors, which with young players you're going to get individual errors anyway, it's just it was more. We wanted to do well for Wayne because of what a nice guy he was, and it was sad that he lost his job. Then John came in, everything happened there, and then Graham came in and. Everything else after that, it's history, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Graham was manager of Farnborough at the time. So, did you have any instinct that he was going to be the next, come and be appointed at Stevenage?
Not at that particular time. We heard maybe a couple of days afterwards. There was a rumour flying around that
Yeah.
perhaps Graham was coming, but not certainly nothing concrete and nothing. So obviously, rumours start flying around. Oh, they didn't play very well. Give us the win and this, that, and the other, which couldn't be further from the truth. We played well that day, and if you'd have heard Graham shouting at his team in the dressing room afterwards, then you would know that it certainly wasn't a gimme, and it certainly Graham was not happy, and I believe they trained the next day.
Yeah, I'm not surprised as well. The fact with everyone knows what Graham was like and even is like as a manager. He definitely doesn't take no prisoners. So yeah,
no, definitely. I had a lot of time for Graham. Graham, you either like Graham or you don't. You either buy into his methods or you don't. And he had made a big impression with me, and had big influence in terms of my fitness levels and me moving forward. So I had a lot of time for Graham.
And Richard there as well has just said, I remember that game was an amazing performance. And yeah, we touched on it with Justin getting that hat trick. I actually remember I was a season ticket holder at the time. And I would normally go with my dad and my brother, and but neither of them were around. And I ended up going with my nan. My nan ended up coming into that game with me and sitting in the main stand. And she was like, "What have I just come to watch now?" She's like, and every single time there was a goal going in, I was obviously jumping up and celebrating, and she's just sat there doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was an amazing game. Everything just clicked. If that could have happened 2, 3, 4 games earlier, you never know. Wayne may have gone and been successful, but that's a fine margins in football. You live and die by results.
We've got another one here from Richard again. Graham had a lot of stick for his management style. So, what did you make of his, him as a manager and that particular style as well? Does that kind of suit you?
Well, he came in, and I'd been struggling with a little bit of a knee injury for a couple of months.
Yeah.
So I was playing, but I wasn't doing an awful lot of training. So when Graham came in and he brought 7, 8 players, I think, with him,
including this man here, Dan Carroll.
Absolutely, yeah. 3 hour session, yeah. So there you go. He came in and brought his players with him. So I was kind of because I was struggling with the knee, I didn't really train. So Lionel came in. Lionel was straight in. But the methods that he used, it was about getting us fit, and he introduced things that probably we hadn't done, such as afternoon training sessions where we'd maybe be with a boxer-size coach, or we'd do some yoga, or we'd do some strength and conditioning. Things that underway, and it was football. That's what we did. We trained. We did the tactical side of things, but in terms of the added extras, we didn't do those things. So that was the first thing that Graham introduced. Long days. They were long days. So you might be in at 9 in the morning, sometimes leaving 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But it was all structured. It was there was a point to it, and it was about trying to get the best out of individuals. So from my point of view, I had no problem with Graham at all. I got on well with him. I'd like to think he liked me because he brought me back to the club. So I think he liked the way I went about things as well. So he gets a lot of stick and has got a lot of stick for some of his methods. But you either buy into them or you don't. And if you don't buy into them, then you're not at the football club. And I think it's as simple as that. And
did you see him come back last season? Did you, make sort of recognise that? Did you sort of, that was the 4th time he came back. So did you think it was a little bit weird to keep going back? Of course, he's been successful for the club on a number of occasions there, but you can't always keep going back to the same guy, can you? You have to try new things sometimes.
I was surprised he came back for the 4th time. I wasn't surprised he came back the 2nd time. Maybe again the 3rd time, but certainly the 4th time I was a little surprised that he came back, and surprised in how short the tenure was as well. I thought once he's back that it would have been given time. to turn it around. I know results weren't fantastic, and Phil made the decision to change again. And thankfully they've managed to stay in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think the problems of last year will happen this year. I know Dino was in charge at the beginning of the year. I had a lot of time for Dino as well. I like Dino. I was with Dino at Lee and Northwich as well, so as well as Stevenage. So I've spent a bit of time with Dino. So yeah, Dino's a good coach as well. So I was a little surprised it didn't work for Dino at the start of the year as well. So yeah, last season for me seemed a bit of a strange season. A few managers.
It was a completely weird season. Yeah. We had 4 managers and 3 wins, so we definitely can't be going through that again this coming season, because then we are going to be screwed, and we're not going to get a reprieve this time round.
No, definitely not. No.
Message from Russ, or a question from Russ there. Were you always a goalkeeper, or did you play in any other positions before you became a goalkeeper?
I didn't start playing football till I was 11. Okay. I used to play a bit of cricket, or just maybe have a little bit of a laugh and a joke on the park, but never really took to it. Really. But then around about the age of 11, I was down the park with a few of my mates, and they were on about they were going to play for FC Rangers. It was
okay, right
at the time. So I thought, yeah, I'll play. Might as well. And I played a couple of games in goal. Quite enjoyed it. Didn't have to run around and things like that, so I quite enjoyed playing. My dad had been a goalkeeper as well, although he didn't make it pro. He had fantastic technical ability, but he wasn't very tall. He was only about 5'10".
Right.
But he had good leap and spring, and he was about to sign for Blackburn and broke his leg. That kind of scuppered his chances. So once my dad realised that I was enjoying playing there, then I used to go down the park with my dad and mess around, and kind of took off from there. But even up to the age of 15, 16, I was still quite small. I was about 5'11", 5'12" at 15, 16.
Right.
And I went on trial at a few clubs, Chester, Halifax, Morecambe, I think I went as well. And the main thing coming back was you'll never be tall enough, you'll not be big enough. And then I had a growth spurt. And I was actually playing for Blackpool Mechanics, which is AFC Blackpool now in the Northwest Counties at open age. Played against Bolton Wanderers youth team. And they approached me after the game and asked me, they'd got an injury with the youth team goalkeeper, could I come and help them out and play in the youth cup? So I did, and they offered me a contract straight after the game.
Oh, excellent! So that's obviously your sort of trial as such worked out perfectly.
It did, yeah. I mean, one game, and they wanted to sign me. So brilliant, yeah. Dean Crombie was my youth team coach there, and Fred Barber was my goalkeeping coach. Fred worked you very, very hard. Fred was very good. Again, I've had some good grounding with the people that I've worked with. Peter Shilton was at Bolton at the time as well. Keith Brannigan, Aidan Davidson, Gavin Ward. So Aidan and Keith were internationals, Irish internationals. Peter had obviously been England goalkeeper for a number of years. So I had good people to learn off. And I think it went from there really. Just learning how to be professional and how to conduct yourself in the right way.
We've got a message here from Richard again as well. That's regarding Wesley coming back again was a mistake for both parties the 4th time around. And he's also said in here that he's been a Stevenage supporter since 1981, and we've been blessed by having some great goalkeepers. That is completely true. You can go back to Des Gallagher, to Richard Wilmot, to Chris Taylor, and then obviously Mark, and then even after that, AJ, Chris Day as well.
I think Dean was there as well when it was Dean Grey Goose.
Dean was there for a bit. Lionel, of course, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Day was there for a while, wasn't he? And there's been some really good goalkeepers at the club. Certainly when Lionel came in, that was a challenge for me. Someone of Lionel's stature, if I can get in there and take his place, then I'm doing all right. And thankfully not thankfully, unfortunately, Lionel broke his leg.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Badly. And it got me back in the side. I would never have wanted to get back in the side that way, but I think in terms of performances, I warranted actually being back in the side afterwards.
And then even, there's some other goalkeepers that are going through my mind now as well. Paul Farman that left the club, he was there last season. And even the likes of Ashley Bays as well.
Yeah. Ashley, I was at Hornchurch with Ashley. It's funny that because Ashley had signed for Hornchurch and I had talks with Graham in the summer. And I think Andy Woodman had come in. I think he signed Andy Woodman.
Had been at Stevenage for a bit, yeah.
Yeah. And Graham had offered me a deal. And it was a case of, you come in, we want you back, but the chances are you're going to be number two. Well, I don't want to be a number two. I want to be a number one. And Ashley had gone to Hornchurch. And I was actually, I'd gone to Canada with Mark Rogers for the summer.
Yeah. I'm going to be hopefully getting Mark on shortly, yeah.
Brilliant. So I was over in Canada with Mark and we're coming back and I was pretty much getting off the plane and I was going to go and see Graham and I was going to sign and battle it out. And as I got off the plane, there was a message on my phone from Simon Wormel.
Okay,
saying Gary Hill's interested in taking you to Hornchurch. Do you fancy it? I thought, well, I'll go and have a chat with him and see. And I met Gary, and Gary said, "No, I've got no number one. I want two goalkeepers, and I want them fighting it out." Well, that was music to my ears. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll have a bit of that." Me and Ashley had a pre-season. I had a good pre-season, to be fair. I never conceded a goal in the 3 games that I played.
Oh, excellent.
So it kind of got me the nod for the start of the season. And then obviously things happened. But I know for a fact Graham was keeping tabs on me as well. So Ashley went to Grays, I think, when it all wound up. And like I said, I'd spoken to Graham, but it just wasn't right for me at that particular time. But by the deadline, he still wanted me and still wanted to get it done. So we got it done. And
Ashley's, he's a character, isn't he?
Ashley's brilliant. He is absolutely fantastic in the dressing room. He's and from a goalkeepers union point of view, very supportive. And if you're playing, you've still got his full support. But as a character, he's one of the best.
We've got a message here from Dan as well. You're a phenomenal teammate and goalkeeper. Really enjoyed playing with you. Do you still coach, or are you just into scouting now? That's from Dan.
Hi, Dan. I actually work for a company called the Professional Football Scouts Association. So I deliver courses for them. So it's to do with talent identification, to do with the role of the scouts, looking at match reporting and how you put those together. We've got opposition analysis courses. So we've wrote an awful lot of courses, and we put them on. So over the summer, whilst it's been locked down, we've had a number of people on there. Some top players on there as well from championship clubs. We've had a few people from the Premier League scouting and academies on there as well. So that tends to be my involvement in football at the moment. I also tutor the Blackpool and the Fleetwood Town BTEC Academy boys as well at the college that I work for now. So I've got them in 3 days a week tutoring them. So I'm still heavily involved in football as well as the teaching side, but not so much the coaching side anymore.
We've got a message there from Richard as well. His son is 16 and training with the Stevenage Development Squad. What sort of advice would you give to him to further on with his career?
I think first and foremost, he has to enjoy what he's doing. He has to have a love of what he's doing. Hopefully, he's got. I don't know too much about the academy down there, but hopefully, he's got good coaches, good experts in the age ranges, and that he's allowed to develop. Whilst the growing stages go on, and sometimes you can be like Bambi on ice with your limbs growing and going through puberty, all of those aspects.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, he's got to enjoy what he's doing. Listen to people around him, good people around him, and be dedicated and disciplined. Certainly discipline, and probably resilience would be the biggest thing for me. Because he's going to suffer knockbacks. He's going to potentially be told he's not good enough or released from a football club at some point in his career. And it's having that resilience to say, well, okay, it didn't work there, but it might work somewhere else. And I think it's never getting too high, never getting too low, staying grounded, and enjoying what they do.
Okay, that's a great answer actually as well. So we'll go back a little bit to, you mentioned in regards to the Farnborough being one of your favourite games, or the games that we were performed our best in. Beating Woking 5-1, probably up there as well though.
I think any big win is enjoyable. I think we played in a few games where we've done well, games where we've played really well, but maybe not got the result as well. I think I remember us going to, I think it was Scarborough away. I think we won 2-1 in the end, but we played really well, and they nearly nicked it in the last minute. That game always sticks in my mind. 1-2-1, but there was a number of games where I really enjoyed playing in. Certainly the pre-season games against the bigger lads, because you always like to test yourself against the best. It doesn't take away from the bread and butter of the league, but cup games and pre-season games where you really get the chance to show what you can do against better oppositions. Always enjoyable for me.
And, Woking, there was a big derby as well. So what were your experiences of playing in that derby game?
I don't really remember too much about it. I remember the results. I don't remember too much about the game. But I know there was the rivalry. I think it was one of the things that Jason Goodliffe said to me when I first came to the club. Beating Woking was always favoured with the fans. I remember him saying that early on when he arrived at the club. In terms of that particular game, I don't really remember too much about it, but I did enjoy the atmosphere there, I have to say.
And then we've got that message there from Richard as well. Says, thanks, Mark. Great reply. I'll pass on what you said. And he's also asked there, what was your worst game that you played in for Stevenage?
Oh gosh, let me think about that one. I must have had some bad ones. Must have. I think there was a game at home. It might have been an LDV game or something like that. I think we got beat. Telford, I think it was. We got beat 3-1 at home.
Right.
I actually saved a penalty that day as well. But as a collective, as a team, we were poor. We were awful, quite rightly got turned over. And I do remember Wayne having quite a number of things to say after that particular performance. So I wouldn't say it's the worst game I've played in, but probably one of the worst team games that I've played in. And
you mentioned there in regards to the LDV trophy as well. We knocked out Swansea. Swansea were the league above us at that point. And even the game after that, the local derby against Luton, that was a 7-goal thriller, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think I played against Luton twice in the LDV. So there's the one where we lost 4-3, was it? I think we lost 4-3.
Yeah.
And then there was one that we lost 1-0, where they scored in something like the 91st minute with a 30-yard screamer into the top corner. I think I was just coming back from injury there. It was under Graham at that point. But I thought I was nailed on for a clean sheet. I played quite well that day, and then it might be Matt Spring or someone like that just pulled the role out.
I think Matt did score actually. Yeah.
In the top corner, and I was a bit deflated afterwards. But yeah, no, I remember the Swansea one. Yeah, I remember that well. Good atmosphere afterwards in the dressing room after that one.
Because we played them a few times. We played them in the FA Cup as well, if I remember rightly. I don't know if you were involved then.
No, I don't think I was. I think the ones in the FA Cup was Darlington away, where I think we lost 4-1 in that one.
Yeah, we lost that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a hide in there. And I think we beat Stockport 2-1 at home. Was another one of the FA Cup games I remember.
And they were Football League at the time, weren't they, as well?
They were. It was funny because I'd been injured, and because I lived up north, Graham actually gave me the weekend off.
Right.
On the proviso that I went to watch Stockport.
So you did a bit of scouting.
Yeah, so I went to watch Stockport with my dad. And then when I was in on the Monday, I just had to give Graham an overview of what I'd seen. He did that a few times with some of the injured boys just to keep us involved. I remember doing it with Tony Battersby and a couple of others, just sending us off on Saturdays to go and watch some of the opposition. But it also gives you a good insight into what scouting was as well.
Yeah. So we've got a question there. It actually goes into what I was going to ask anyway. Richard there has heard rumours that George Boyd is going to re-sign for Stevenage. So what are your views on that? And of course, he was coming through when you were in that team as well.
Yeah, there was a few of them. We had DJ Campbell as well, who went on to have a really good career. But yeah, I remember George. George stands out like a sore thumb. A big, tall, gangly player at the time, but what a talent he was. Wayne got him in early, got him in the team early. But you could see he had something about him. I think he'd be great for Stevenage if he came back, and I'm sure he's still got the legs to be able to turn it on. But he's done great where he's been at Peterborough and when he went to Burnley, and I think Sheffield Wednesday he's been at as well.
Wednesday as well, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'd had a lot of time for George. When Dino was here as a player, me, George, and Dino, and might have been Phil as well. Used to go to the coffee shop sometimes after training and have a game of cards, or just to chill out and a chat, a little gamble if I can say that as well. But yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, he's a really nice kid as well, or a nice man now. Yeah.
Love DJ, quality player. Of course, DJ was exceptional talent. Yeah.
DJ. I think it was his had a personality clash. I think with Wayne, because Dino was DJ was very confident in his ability, and he wasn't playing. And I think he thought he deserved to play. So he went off to Yeading. And then proved exactly what he could do, but obviously Wayne had gone by then. I think if he'd have stayed on, then Graham would have liked him, and I think he'd have carried on at Stevenage. I don't think him and Wayne saw eye to eye.
And what were the main sort of differences in managerial style between Wayne and Graham?
Wayne was very. Wayne's coaching was, I think I said it before, second to none. His sessions were top notch. You would have you'd come in because we were just switching from part time to full time. So that was another reason I decided to come to the club, because we've gone 3 mornings a week. So we were just going through that transformation. I think that was probably something that hindered Wayne as well, because he had experienced players, but obviously, they had jobs as well, which did impact on training sessions. So although those that didn't have jobs and the younger lads could switch to the full time, I think at times there was a lack of balance because of those reasons, and I think that didn't help Wayne. In terms of Graham's very detailed, should I say, in what he does. Surrounds himself with good people. He had Graham Benstead as the goalkeeping coach.
That's right.
I enjoyed working with Graham. Although enjoyed working with Gary, I equally enjoyed working with Graham. And then you had Piercy as well, who came in, who was Piercy was again another good coach. So in terms of styles, I'd say Wayne was more of a coach, and Graham was more of a manager.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And when Graham came in there as well, we finished that season in 12th place as well. So Graham obviously got the turnaround. Because we were rock bottom when Wayne Turner obviously was relieved of his duties and given the sack there, and then Graham had that really fantastic run, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was towards the end. Did we go something like 10 or 11 games out of 12?
Yeah, it was around about that. Yeah.
Something like that. And if I remember rightly, did we send Southport down on the last day of the season? I think we did.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, which was not nice seeing players on the pitch, knowing that they've been relegated. But yeah, no, I remember we were stacking up the runs, and Graham saying if we can get to 10, we'll be safe, and there'll be a treat for everybody if we can get to 10. And I think we got medals and trophies or something.
That's it. I remember that. We've all heard the story. I think a lot of the fans know the story regarding that anyway.
Yeah. So I think that we were all given those when we got to the 10. But it was about taking one game at a time and trying to get the points on the table to make sure that we were safe. And then it was about trying to finish as high as we could so that we had momentum going into the following season.
We've got a message there from Reese as well. What do you think of the Stevenage squad this season, and how do you think Stevenage will do if you've sort of followed any of the transfers that have been done?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of players come in, a lot of non-league players come in from what I've seen. I don't know whether there was two planning processes going on, one for if we dropped out of the league and one if we stayed in the league, thinking that the players could excel in League Two, but if stayed in the nationwide league, then they'd be pushing to get us promoted. So it looks like there's some good players come in, hungry players, players that I think is the goalkeeper on loan from Spurs, is it?
Chelsea,
yeah. I knew he'd come from one of the big clubs. So again, utilising the transfer market well to give players experience, and it looks like there's a good blend. And you're playing games, then you're never going to go anywhere because you learn on the job, if you like.
And then we've got Kieran that's just joined us as well. Kieran, who was physio at the time.
I remember Kieran, because Kieran was dealing with my knee problem. I enjoyed working with Kieran. Again, he says I'm a nice bloke. He was a nice bloke as well. Very friendly. And sometimes when your chin's on the floor because you're not in the team, or you want to be out there training and maybe holding you back a little bit. To have that relationship with somebody, who who is on your side and wants you to get back, but wants you to go back and go back properly rather than go back and then be sat there with them again in a week or 2 weeks' time. So yeah, no, enjoyed working with Kieran.
And we spoke about Jason earlier as well, but he was your captain, is it? Was that correct, Jason being your captain?
Yeah, it was.
So what was it like, having Jace as your captain? What was he like as a leader as well as a player?
I'll probably echo in here what other people have said about Jason. He's Mr. Stevenage, isn't he? He was the first person to greet me when I joined. Came to the club and met Wayne, met Gary, met Jason, and I had a chat with him, and told me all about the football club, the expectations, what it was like to play for Stevenage. And he never disappointed, did he? When he was, he was proper leader. Put his body on the line. He had you back as well. If things weren't going too well, he'd always come and have a chat with you, and he'd keep your spirits up. Not just me, but other anybody. He's certainly a presence around the gym. When you've got your injured players, because they do get forgotten when you're injured. The manager's focus is all around that starting 11 and the people that can come on and make an impact. So you do get forgotten, and it helps when you've got people around you who keep you going. Like Kieran, Jason. I forget who it was when I first joined.
Who else was there that was physio? Paul Dando as well?
No, it wasn't. Paul was at one point. It wasn't Paul when I first joined. It was, he'd been there an awful long time. I can't remember his name. But I remember him being a really nice guy. He was clever as well. He used to try and catch people out. If you go in and say, my knee's sore, or I've hurt my groin or whatever, he'd start trying to treat the wrong side just to make sure that you weren't trying to pull his leg.
Yeah, try it on a bit.
Yeah, so he was clever. I can't remember his name, but he was a nice guy as well.
And of course, you mentioned there in regards to the players that would usually feature more often than not. Anthony Eldin was one of them.
Yeah, I remember Anthony coming to the club. Pocket Rocket was Anthony. Yeah, had one of the hardest shots I can remember. When he hit it, it stayed hit. Remember getting my hand to a few of them, and it stinging for a little while afterwards. But again, another one who was always destined to go on and have a career in the game. He got on well with the boys, could score us goals when we needed. And again, probably one of the things from my time at Stevenage was the people in the dressing room and around the dressing room, all really nice people, and you got on well. And if there was anybody who came in who didn't have the right personality or didn't gel, then they weren't there long.
And what did you make of the way that Ant left the club as well? Because he left the club in a little bit of an unusual way, didn't he? With Graham, they had a bit of a falling out, if I remember rightly.
Don't know whether I was there when that happened. I remember they did have a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I was there at the time or whether I remember hearing the stories afterwards. But yeah, I believe they had a difference of opinion, and you can't work together then if that's the case. If it's and unless you can come to some common ground, and if there's no common ground, then it's one or the other, and generally it's the player that moves on.
Yeah, fair enough. And of course, Ant and Dino was a great partnership as well. They had a good little strike partnership between the pair of those two.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Dino was a workhorse. Always had a goal in him as well. And yeah, he used to be one that was, he was a born winner. It was Dino, and Graham used to allude to that an awful lot. If you want to see a winner, look at Dino.
And I think that's why he was number two for under Wesley for a lot of what Wesley's good spells were as well.
Yeah, they had a really good relationship, and you could see that. I think they shared the same views on how football should be played, how footballers should be treated, to a certain extent, and I think they're both hungry for success, and I think that's why they gelled.
And Kieran said there was Keith, and it was him and
Keith.
Paul, but it wasn't Dando. It was another Paul. I'm not too sure who it was, and he doesn't know either.
Right. Yeah, Keith. That was it. Yeah,
Keith was one. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Keith Allison? I think it was.
Yeah, Keith.
Allinson,
possibly. Yeah. Allison. Yeah. And we've got another message here as well from Richard again. What do you think of Scott Cuthbert as a captain, and how does he compare to having Jace?
It's difficult for me to make that comparison because I don't know Scott. I know Jason, and as a captain, that's exactly what you want. But I can't make the comparison because I don't know Scott, I'm afraid. That's
fair enough. And Scott was one of the ones that has stayed around the place as well, and I'm sure he's a key to Stevenage doing well this season. To have your captain, remain at the club is always a positive.
You've got to have leaders. You've got to have people who are prepared to stand up and be counted in the dressing room. And I would like to think that Scott's one of those people. He'll drag people with him, and set that example, lead by example.
And then what we got on here? So you played alongside Mark Smith on his return to the club as well. So what was it like playing alongside Smudger?
I didn't play that much with Smudger, but I remember Smudger as a person, more than a player. Again, he's one of those people. He had experience. Somebody you could have a really good conversation with, talk football. Chew the fat if you like. And he was a decent player as well. He was another one who had Stevenage running through his veins as well. So, he was a nice guy.
And while we're on the topic of talking about Jace and Smudger as well, we have to put Ronnie in that bracket, and you played alongside Ronnie as well.
I did, yeah. I think Ronnie came from Tottenham.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was a Graham or a Wayne signing, but he was. I remember Ronnie, and always thought he had captain qualities about him, and that he do very well in the game. He was level-headed, got on with the boys, prepared to put his foot in when needed, and he technically a good player as well. It does not surprise me at all how well Ronnie's done in his career.
And he's got he had his testimonial. He's now the all-time record holder of appearances at the club as well. So, and he's still working with the club as well with the youth capacity while still playing over at Billericay too.
Yeah, so it says it all. You don't stay around a football club for that length of time if one, you haven't got an affinity with the club, but two, if you're not a decent and talented person.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll talk a little bit now in regards to the conference final, the playoff final, and you, of course, were on the bench in that one, and the semi-finals as well against Hereford. And AJ was the man who was between the sticks between those three games. So was that disappointing for you to see your name on the bench rather than in the starting 11?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I'd be on the bench. AJ was in great form. I'd only just come back to the club in the March. What wasn't fully fit, although I was getting close to it because I'd been out since I think December, something like that. So I'd had 4 months out of the game when it came back in terms of match experience and playing and what have you and training. So yeah, I'd come in as cover for AJ anyway, and I knew that would be the case. Graham was always open and honest that if it went well, there'd be a contract there for me for the following year, and he was good to his word. That contract was offered. For personal reasons, I didn't accept that contract. Actually, regret not taking it now. If I'm perfectly honest, I probably could have done one more season. But I was worried about my overall fitness and how I would cope. So for personal reasons, decided that I would go down the coaching route and play a bit of non-league nearer home. And yeah, probably regret that decision. I probably should have had that one more year and see where it took me. But yeah, real disappointment that we lost the game. I felt going into the game that this was our time. I think we'd lost to Carlisle in the 2 previous games, and I
think actually in the league, I think we beat them twice.
Had we beaten them twice?
And I think Darren Stamp scored in one of those games, and Stampy's coming on for a chat tomorrow. So
right, yeah, I knew it was one or the other. I would either lost to them or would beaten them. But we did fancy our chances of turning them over. And then I remember they scored, and we didn't look like scoring after they scored, and it was kind of Carlisle managed the game really well. They played for time towards the end, and it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, real disappointment because I fancied us to go up that year.
I was going to say that as well. Did you think that we could have gone one further and actually got the promotion?
Yeah, I did. I thought once we'd beaten Hereford in the semis.
Yeah. Doing that the hard way as well, drawing at home and then going there, and obviously Dino getting the one to make it 1-0 and win us the game down there.
Fantastic experience down there, winning that game. The celebrations and what have you afterwards. And I think the celebrations, had we beaten Carlisle, would have gone on for a number of days. I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm sure they would as well. So we'll go into just a few sort of general sort of Stevenage related questions, and some just to yourself as well. So who are your inspirations sort of in and out of football? I'm sure your dad would be in there, because the fact he used to be a goalkeeper as well, and of course the fact he's your father. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My dad, for one, when I was starting off in the game, he used to, take me here, there, and everywhere. Very, very supportive. I think he went to practically every game. And when I made my debut for Wickham at Burnley, I got notice probably an hour and a half before the game that I was going to play. So I was able to get on the phone to my dad, and he actually made it for kickoff. So he actually got to see my debut as well. So I know he was very, very proud of that. In terms of football wise, from a role model point of view, Neville Southall was somebody I really looked up to as a young goalkeeper coming through.
Did you play against him? Because he obviously played a few games in the conference, didn't he? Were you ever playing against him?
I did at reserve team level when I was at Bolton.
Right.
Played against him there, but not in a competitive game. He was one that I looked up to and aspired to be like. Obviously, meeting Peter Shilton and working with Peter Shilton was an absolute pleasure, and really enjoyed that experience. I remember one training session where Peter was 40 at the time, and they were doing a training session, and the boys must have been training or shooting for 5-6 minutes. No one had scored. He was pulling worldies off there, and everywhere. The strap on his glove came loose.
Okay.
And he went absolutely berserk, because as he stopped to try and fix his glove, somebody shot and scored.
Oh,
and
wow.
He went berserk.
Yeah.
He not happy. He was that much of a perfectionist. So he, sorted his glove out, composed himself, and away he went again. It's phenomenal to watch him work, and even at 40 years of age, I would have loved to have seen him at 25, 26, if what I saw of him at 40. He was an inspiration. And then probably Fred Barber at Bolton, Gary Phillips at Wickham and Stevenage, and probably Graham as well, Graham Benstead as well. The coaches that I work with and help me develop, not only as a goalkeeper but as a person as well. The standards that they set and asked you to set as well. I think that sticks with me.
Okay. So, we kind of touched on this previously with, I think it was Richard that put the comment in there. But what would you say to anyone who wants to get into, playing football or even the coaching side of it as well, whether it's goalkeeping coach or just in sort of normal coach or management?
I think it's very difficult to get to. If it's the pro game you're looking to get into, then it is difficult to get into. But in terms of if it's grassroots, if it's you wanted to make a way in the game and go as far as you possibly can, one, you've got to have the love of the game, and I'm sure people have. Do your coaching badges, because without your coaching badges, you're not going anywhere anyway. Because they're a prerequisite. So working in academies, you've got to have these qualifications anyway. Getting your name out there as well. Doing the right things, being professional, being trustworthy. Maybe shadowing people as well, just to see how they do things. If it's a goalkeeping role that you want to take on, go and watch goalkeeping coaches, see what they do, try and make contacts, try and pick their brains. Like I say, get the coaching badges, but don't let anything stand in your way. Just go for it. And again, like I said, just try and be the best that you can. Because I'm a big believer in that your level will find you, rather than you striving for. I want to play in the Premier League. Well, only so many people can play in the Premier League. You'll find your level.
Okay, that's actually.
Yeah,
no, that's a really good answer, actually. And I was just going to say, before we go on to Russ's question and some of the other questions here as well, I'm sure having the right people around you as well would actually help. And, leaning on past players and past management and past, coaches as well. If you can get hold of those contacts, or if you've got those contacts that, are available to you, then to use them and to make the most of that.
Absolutely. There's no point reinventing the wheel. If you can tap into people and you can improve your knowledge and your understanding of how things are done, then it can only improve you as an individual.
We've got this question here from Russ. Would you ever consider going into TV or radio punditry or anything like that?
When I was at Wycombe, because Laurie Sanchez didn't like to have a goalkeeper on the bench, he'd rather go with his 3 outfield players. But obviously I had to travel to every single game. So Martin Taylor would generally play. I would warm him up, and then I'd get changed, and then I'd go into the stands. And I got to know Alan Hodgkinson.
Okay.
He was doing the PR, and he used to do the radio as well. So he asked me if I would co-commentate with him. So I ended up for, I think, a season and a half, until it went 5 subs. Used to co-commentate with him as well. So on away games, not home games, but away games. I really enjoyed that. It was it was good. It was it was fun to try and put your point of view across without giving too much away of what was going on in the dressing room. And it was an enjoyable experience, I have to say. Yeah, and if an opportunity arose for me to do radio, to do TV, yeah, absolutely jump at it. Yeah, like I say, I do deliver those courses, and they're all online courses that we deliver at the moment. So it is like a bit like this, where you're talking to people through a computer.
Okay, and of course with the powers of Zoom, that's great to have that sort of technology at the moment. I know you'd absolutely love to be able to do it face to face again, and of course with the virus and that, it's put a halt to that at the moment. But the sooner you're able to do that, the better.
Absolutely, yeah. The practical courses are brilliant. When we can put on the practical courses, we have obviously had to adapt them to go online, and they've gone down really well. The feedback has been really positive. So, but yeah, the practical courses are fantastic. We love doing them, and especially when you can interact with people. You see the whites of their eyes. You can judge their body language. And if somebody, it's hard to judge on a TV screen if somebody's got something to say, whereas when you're in person, you can see them twitching to
True,
maybe
yeah.
And you can bounce off them a little bit different.
So do you know much about Alex Ravel, and what are your thoughts on him as manager? And of course, he's got Lenny Lawrence in to help him out as well. He's a great name around the game. Don't
know too much about Alex. Know of him as a player, but not from a coaching or management point of view. Know what he was like as a player. Obviously, Stevenage fans know what he was like as a player. If half as committed to the management side as he is to the playing side, I'm sure no stone will be left unturned. He'll be striving to get the club going in the right direction. That's for sure. Lenny Lawrence, come across Lenny, and what a fantastic guy he is as well. Knowledgeable, very very knowledgeable, and he'll be a great sidekick for Alex.
And I think you can look at the young and hungry players coming through, or the experienced players that we've got in as well. But I think Lenny's the signing of the season for us. I think at the moment.
I don't think you can beat experience, can you? His knowledge, he's been there, he's done it, he's got the T-shirt, and if he can impart some of that knowledge and wisdom to Alex when times are maybe tough, or he needs an arm around him or a bit of advice, then it's priceless.
And did you see any of the work that the club have done through the pandemic, through COVID, with the community care line and things like that?
Just what I saw on social media, and it's fantastic. To help people out, deliver food packages, all of those aspects. It's just humanity at its best, isn't it? It's looking after the community, and that's what Stevenage is, and it's a community football club. That was very evident when I was there. Players going into schools and things like that. It actually really doesn't surprise me at all.
Fair enough. Let's have a look on there. Yeah. So, what would you say you learnt upon sort of going into coaching as well? And did you lean on other ex-coaches and managers that you worked under for advice, and you sort of learn off of them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Spoke to Fred a couple of times. Spoke to Gary a number of times. Gary actually came to my wedding a number of years after leaving the club. So you can imagine the relationship I had with Gary.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely lean on them. What do you think about this? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm having this particular problem. Have you come across it before? Oh, yeah, we dealt with it this way. Maybe try this. Absolutely. It's priceless. Having mentors and role models that you can turn to, because we don't have all the answers. As a coach, you don't have all the answers. You need people around you. You need the right people around you. And if you look at if you look at managers nowadays, when they go into a football club, they tend to bring a number of people with them. People that they trust, people that they've worked with, and you tend to find there's experience in that team, and they work well together. They know who is going to be an expert in this role, who can help in this role, and I think as we go forward, the DNA of clubs change now as well. So people come into clubs. Certainly at academy level, and you don't seem to see that change too much because the DNA of the club is set. Some managers might come in and be given free rein to change everything, but I think more and more clubs are now going down a DNA. We're going to play a particular style, regardless of who the manager is. The kind of a head coach comes in now, and it's kind of, we're going to play this particular way. And we'll employ people who are going to take us down that route.
Okay. And do you think Stevenage are at all lucky to still be in League Two? I know it's a little bit of a sticky situation with what happened with Macclesfield. It could be it could have gone either way, really. But do you think Stevenage are at all lucky to be in League Two, or do you think it's the right decision what was made overall in the end?
I think if if a full season had been played and Stevenage finished bottom and then they stay up that way, yes, you could possibly say lucky. With the games that they had left, I had a feeling they might get out of it. But then again, if you're not paying your players, then financially you're not in a good place. And if you don't run your football club correctly, then there's punishments and consequences. And I think in the end, the right decision was made. And no, I don't think they were lucky to stay up.
Fair enough. And I think Macclesfield have actually got, I think it's only about another 7 or 10 days to, save the club completely. I think they're on the verge of going out of business. So, of course, nobody wants to see that with any football club, whether, whatever level it is.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't want to see football clubs winding up, and hopefully they'll get some money in there, or someone will come in and help them out, because that's the last thing we want to see. Clubs need to be run correctly, and the wage cap now hopefully is going to help to stabilise clubs and help moving forward. Keep clubs in League 1 and 2 on an even keel.
So we haven't actually got that much more to get through. So let's have a look here. So what would you say regarding the importance of mental health in football as well? And the players and clubs kind of being on the same wavelength in that aspect.
Yeah, that's a massive thing, isn't it? The well-being of players, both in this pandemic and the pressure that players are put under nowadays, and social media. It's very easy to ruin a reputation by putting something silly on social media, or and that can have a real big impact. So I think education is required to educate people in the right way. There is help on hand to ensure that anybody suffering with any mental health issues is treated accordingly, and that it shouldn't be a stigma. It shouldn't be a something to hide away. If you're struggling, you tell the physio, if I've got an injury. Well, if you're not feeling well, or you're struggling, then there needs to be people to talk to, because for me, the mental side of the game is more important than the physical side. Because if you're not confident, if you're unhappy, then that impacts on your performance anyway. I know if I was struggling for confidence, it would impact on my performance. And I'm not saying I was unwell or anything like that, but that from a mental point of view, if I had somebody to talk to, or a sports psychologist or whatever it might be, who can get you thinking differently. And I know Graham brought someone in towards the end of my tenure at Stevenage, and there was a sports psychologist available, and talking to them, and getting them self-talk and imagery and all of those aspects are key now in today's game to cope with situations that you're in. So I think there does need to be more education on it, and in terms of mental health and welfare, it's absolutely key within the game now.
I think you're absolutely spot on with that as well. If you look at, Michael Falasitas, who was at the club, the young lad who went on to go on to Love Island, and ended up taking his own life after that because he was going through a lot of mental issues and just wasn't able to cope with the change from, being a semi-professional footballer or a youth team footballer into the limelight there, being thrown into the limelight at the deep end.
Absolutely, yeah. It's tough because as a footballer, you're regimented. You're told where to be, what time you've got to do this. In some cases, what to eat. This is your dentist. This is your schedule for the week. You got people around you to help do all your banking and all of those types of things. When you're out of the game, then you're on your own. So if you've not got that education, then it can be a massive shock. When I finished playing, and that year I was out in terms of doing my degree to go on and do teaching. No, I did find it hard. Certainly the camaraderie and the banter and everything that goes on within the dressing room, it can't be replicated anywhere. And it's something that, unless you've been in it and lived it, it's really hard to explain. It is an unbelievable place to be is a dressing room. Certainly when things are going well, but even when things aren't going so well, people pull together and they get people going in the right way. So some of the banter that goes on, it can be close to the bone at times, but it's fantastic. Sorry, that's the
dog. Yeah, that's fine, mate. No, that's fine. Yeah.
That's me lad coming back from football. He's been out playing football, so he just got back.
Oh, so you've got a young lad as well. And what position does he play in?
He's a goalkeeper. Yeah, just starting off. He's 7, so he's got his first ever football game on Saturday. So I'm going to go and watch that.
Oh, excellent! So from myself, and I'm sure everyone that's watching, wish him all the best as well. And hopefully, he can put out a really good performance, and might even get himself into the pro game at some point.
You never know. You never know.
But no, we'll wrap it up in a minute. Actually, anyway. So, have you sort of been back to Stevenage much since you left?
I haven't actually. No, I don't think I have been back since I left. I've seen a couple of things come through where ex-players can go back, and but just with commitments and everything, I've not been able to take advantage of any of those opportunities. But I'd love to come back at some point and and just have a look at how the club's changed since I was last there, and maybe see who's still there. If Clive's still there, Roger's still there.
Clive's still there. I think he's gone to more part-time now, but he's still around. And if you were to keep goal in front of the North Stand, you've got 2,000 people behind you now.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Because it's the new stand's been built there, so it's not just the couple of hundred people that were there prior.
Yeah, I'd like to have a look at that. Come and see and sample the atmosphere again, because it's always great to play there.
And of course, just the final couple of questions, really, or the final question or two. What do you think Stevenage should be aiming for this season?
You would say mid-table, wouldn't you? But why not go for it? Why not go for it? The season starts the same for everybody. See where you are after 6, 12 games, and judge it from there, really. But always have that was something that we always had at the start of the season was let's look at that top 6, 7. Let's see if we can be around there come March time, and if we're around there by March time, then we could get in the playoffs, we could go up automatic. But to certainly be looking March time to be in and around the 6th, 7th place. We've
just got 2 more. How important is it to be able to get the fans back into the ground as soon as you can, and is sort of seen as safe to do so as well?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's about being safe to get people back into the ground. But as soon as we can get them back in, we've got to get them back in. It's the heartbeat of football, isn't it? I mean, you watch it on the telly. They put the background noise in, but it isn't the same. Nowhere near.
I don't think it works. I think it's just you kind of you can hear the background noise, and you're looking around to try and see if there's some crowd or something. And it's just a complete empty stadium. Apparently it was going to be October, but now with the new rules that have set in place where you can't meet in groups of more than 6, it's gone back even further again.
Yeah, we need to get them back in the stadium, but like you say, first and foremost, it's got to be done in a safe control manner. So, we want them in the stadiums. Players will tell you there's nothing like playing in front of a crowd. I've played in enough reserve games where there's been one man and his dog there, it's hard at times, but in front of a crowd, it does lift you. Absolutely does lift you. And certainly from a social point of view, and from a well-being point of view for fans to get them back in the stadiums, because they are missing out on those social interactions, and father and son go into the game, father and daughter go into the game,
me and my nan
go into the game. I'd started to take my little boys to the Blackpool games, and watching the games there, and certainly William was getting really into it when we suddenly got caught short. So it was. But I want to get back in stadiums. I want to be watching games because I don't think there's anything better, personally.
I think that was actually the only time my nan came to a game was that final one. We didn't really know what to do after that. But hey, 1-1 is a decent record.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not going to get much better than that.
But we'll just this final question really is in regards to yourself and the tutor and stuff that you're doing as well. What does that actually entail for you? What kind of stuff do you have to do with that?
In terms of my day job, I work at Blackpool and Fylde College, and my job role is senior tutor for teaching and learning. So I oversee all the development needs of teachers as well as tutoring as well.
Yeah.
So looking at all the new technology that's coming out and helping to support and bring in new innovative strategies. I also, like I said, tutor on the Blackpool and Fleetwood programs. So the scholars come to us a couple of days a week, and we deliver the BTEC program to them. And also tutor on the main programs as well. That keeps me really busy. And then in terms of weekends, do some of the PFSA stuff. So leading courses on that as well. It's been really interesting.
All right, so thank you for your time tonight, Mark. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and best of luck with everything that you've got going on with, of course, the kids over at Blackpool and the tutoring and everything else that's you've got happening as well. Hopefully you can come down and see what the Lamex/Broadhall Way is like, and the changes that there are since when you were playing there in the near future.
It'd be fantastic to come back and have a look, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic, and hopefully people have enjoyed it.
All right, cheers, Mark. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Thanks, Mike. Cheers,
mate. Bye now. Bye bye.
Cheers.